NextToRise MMA. Today we are with Andy Boehlke. How you doing today, Andy?
Good, Jordan. How are you, man?
Good. Thank you for asking. So before we start, I'm going to ask you, how'd you first get into MMA?
Oh man, this funny backstory. Um, I moved here from Lima, Ohio in 1997 when I graduated, and I was working out in a gym lifting in Niles, and I saw a sign on a side door that said "Learn to be an ultimate fighter." Now I boxed and wrestled almost my whole life. I'm like, well, this should be good. So I walked in and I started, took the trial class and this, that, and the third, and they said, "Do you have any background experience?" And I says, "Yeah, I boxed and I wrestled." And they're like, we went through the class, went through all the stuff, and said, "Okay, we're about to spar. You can sit this one out." I said, "No, I'll spar." I said, "I'm not worried about it." So going a bit, me, 18 years old, I can take on the world, right? And then I ended up getting kicked in the face, and then fell in love with it. I signed up. I'm like, wow, there's a whole different world out there, and 28 years later, here I am.
Nice, nice. And you have a pro grappling match coming up against George Euler on YouTube pay-per-view with New Line Cage Fighting. How'd that matchup come together?
I do. Actually, I reached out to Keith about grappling. One of our guys fought on one of his cards in Kentucky, and I reached out and I said, who do you got? He threw George at me. Um, George is a tough vet. He has 12 pro MMA fights. He submitted a UFC veteran or two, so it should be a war. But anybody knows me knows I like a good war here and there. So,
That's nice. What kind of match should fans expect?
well, anybody that's ever seen me or watched me knows I'm a grinder. Um, I'm gonna bring it as long as I'm in that cage, whether it's 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I'm gonna bring it. So, win, lose or draw, I'm coming. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a banger. So,
How is preparing for a grappling match different than preparing for MMA?
well, I mean, combat is combat. The biggest thing is cardio. Um, and I'm an older guy. I'll be 47 next week. So I don't uh, I don't recover as quick as some of these young bucks out here do.
Right.
But with me, it's more so just mentally preparing myself as well. You have to get a mindset. When that door closes, it's you and him. Whether it's MMA, whether it's grappling, it's you and him. You have to have that mindset. If you don't have a competitor's mindset, don't even get in that cage, man. But mental preparation is the biggest thing. You know, um, just getting yourself there. Eliminate as much negativity as you can close to the fight. Surround yourself with people that want to see you succeed. Which I have a gym full of them. I have a great group of guys in there, so they all help me out.
Awesome. Definitely. So what led you to start CMA?
Oh man, I started CMA in 2003. I wanted to give back what the martial arts gave to me, and then I helped some kids along the way. Try to help them find their way. You know, when I was younger, I was a happy kid, but I had temper issues sometimes. So it gave me that. It gave me discipline. It gave me some structure in my life. So, um, I started out teaching Shotokan karate with a little bit of grappling. That's what my black belts are in. Um, I also have a BJJ black belt and a Budokan kickboxing as well. But when I first started all that, that's what my main goal was, and it just kind of blossomed from there. And since then, I've trained 8 champions. I've trained a world kickboxing champion 2 time. Um, and the gym has been up and down, like any other business. But we're still here. We're still battling 20 something years later. I think hopefully it'll be around another 20 some more.
Nice, nice. What's the hardest part about running a gym that people don't see?
The hardest part is the sacrifice away from my kids, my family, my girl, things like that that they don't see behind the scenes. Um, when you're the coach, man, you don't get the glory. The fighter gets the glory. You're the guy behind the scenes. You're the puppet master. You're the one making the show work, but um, they're the ones dancing under those lights at the end of the day, man. And it's you have to understand that going in. Like you're not going to get the facial glory. You know, I'm okay with that. I want my guys to succeed. I've always been the coach that I want every single man in that room better than me by the time he leaves me.
Nice, nice. What keeps a gym successful versus what makes one fail?
It takes a village, honest to God. Having great coaches in there helps. I got some awesome coaches in there. Um, I'll give shout outs to them later on. Some of them are my main training partners. Okay. But it takes a village. It takes the fighters doing their part. It takes the coaches doing their part. Um, it's like a well-oiled machine. You know, it's almost like a pit crew if you think about it. You know, this person does this person does this. If everybody's on point, it'll succeed. If it's not, you fail. Um, but it's definitely a different kind of business because we offer a service. We don't offer a necessity. So it always makes it a little bit harder to, you know, keep people in, I guess, keep people in. Where, you know, if I was an electrician or a plumber, you need those kind of services. You know what I mean? This is a service where some guys are hobbyists, some guys want to take it seriously, some guys just want to come in and train and learn. So you have to kind of find that good balance and have the right team with you.
That's fair. Is it harder to coach fighters or prepare yourself to compete?
It's harder to coach fighters, man, honestly, because when I get in there, like I said, I'm an older guy now. I had my glory. I won my titles back in the day. For me, it's kind of a sick like high being in there. As crazy as that sounds, man, it's you know, some people like to play golf, some people like to fish. I like to try to choke other grown men in the cage. Like it, you know, that's a hobby for me. I like to hunt and fish too, but that's beside the point. Um, and then with them, it's harder to prepare them because I have to know their goals, what they need to do. I got to stay on them. If they miss training, I'm on them. And these guys will tell you, coach is on me. I don't do it out of malice. I do it out of love. I want them to succeed. I want them to be 100 times better than I ever was.
Right.
You know, but just trying to stay on that, trying to stay on contracts, trying to stay on their weights, trying to stay on, make sure they're in the gym. Am I showing them the right things in the cage and out of the cage to make sure they're successful? There's a lot more that goes into coaching them than getting myself prepared.
That's fair. When you first meet a new fighter, what tells you that they might be special?
Basically, how cool and calm they are in certain situations. Like they walk in the gym and their first time sparring and they're just panicking all over the place. Okay. I know that one's going to take a little bit more work than somebody who may have had a long wrestling background or long boxing background or other martial arts where they come in there more calm in certain situations. You know, they're getting pressured, but they don't panic, things like that. And you can tell you can tell when someone's got a dog in them. The minute they throw them gloves on, you'll know if you got a finesse fighter or if you got a dog on your hands. You'll know right away. Takes about 3 seconds to figure that out.
Have you ever?
It's about 3 seconds.
Have you ever been wrong about a fighter's potential, whether good or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been wrong about a lot of things as a coach. That's part of being human and part of growing as a coach. But yes, I have. I've had guys that come in the gym, they're absolute studs, get in the cage, and they're like, oh, okay. And I've had that vice versa as well over the years. The group of guys I got now, they're great. I get on them a lot. They probably say, coach is mean, coach is a bully. I promise you, I'm not bullying nobody. Despite what Dante might say, I'm not bullying anybody. But they are a great group of guys. I stay on them out of love, not out of malice. I want every single one of them to have their hand raised in the UFC one day. That's my goal. I might die before that happens of a heart attack because some of them stress me out so much, but I love them. They're my guys. So.
What's the craziest sparring session you've seen down at your gym?
Oh my God. I was actually involved in it. Another funny story. I was sparring. I think it was with Dante's dad. Actually, we're getting some rounds in, and this two guys come in the gym. We were on Federal Street, and the guy comes in. He goes, "Hey, this is my buddy. He just got out of prison." I'm like, "Okay." I see. Here's the schedule. I welcome everybody. I don't care what your past is, what your background. I don't care. Makes no difference to me. As long as you come in, you're cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
So he goes, yeah. He said, I want to put him in a pro boxing match. And I said, well, does he have any training? Does he have any? No, he just spent 12 years in prison. I'm like, okay. Does he have any training? He said, no, I just want to give him some. I said, okay, fine. And I said, well, I really don't have any big guys in here. I said, and the guy I was just sparring with, John's getting ready for a fight, so I'm not going to throw him in there. The guy looks at me and goes, well, I guess you'll do. Well, me being me, I went, oh, I guess I'll do. Okay, cool, no problem. Needless to say, he was getting drug out by his ankles after it was all said and done. So,
That's fair.
and I am by no means the baddest man on the planet. There's a lot of guys out here better than me. But that was a lesson learned. So, don't and don't judge a book by its cover. It's the worst thing you can ever do. I've done that before, and I've I've been on the receiving end of a few of them too. So
That's fair. Have you ever had to stop a sparring session because it got too intense?
yep. I won't get into any details, but yes, I have many times. You're in a room in a testosterone-driven sport. Okay, you got guys preparing for fights. You got guys that are, a little more emotional than others. A guy gets popped, he starts taking it personally. Nothing to take personal in that room, man. Nothing at all. You're on the same team here. Don't ever take anything personally in there. You have some guys that they come hard. They smack you hard. That's you learn to adjust to that. Like you learn this person goes hard, this person doesn't. And you can sometimes control the pace. If you're a veteran, I tell my vets, you're the veteran, control the pace, control the sparring session. Don't let it get there. If you're with a new guy, a lot of newer guys come in, they don't understand how hard they're supposed to hit someone,
Right.
Because they're brand new, they don't know. I tell my vets, control the situation. Now, if they're being excessive with it, then you adjust accordingly. But you are the veteran. You are the one that takes control. You are the one that handles that situation.
That's fair. How has MMA changed since you first started?
Oh Lord. This is funny because a couple of my guys can watch this interview and shake their heads. But it's it's a lot more about the status and more about the money. Okay. Too many guys out there worried about their Instagram likes, worried about their TikTok likes, and all that garbage. When I got in there, you signed a contract, the door closed, you scrapped, and nobody cared. That's just what it was. Okay. And win, lose, or draw, you earned your respect. Respect wasn't measured on likes and clicks. It was measured on, two warriors getting in there and going to battle, as it should be now.
Right.
But the game has changed a lot. Like I said, I'm an older guy. So I'm trying to get with the times here and understand this whole social media era. You know what I mean?
Do you think fighters today are more rounded than before?
I think they are, but I also think they have more access to be able to do that with the internet. I mean, the internet, YouTube is also your best friend.
Yeah.
You can find a lot of different perspectives on YouTube. Not every coach knows everything. That's just how it goes. They have more access. They have more tools. They have more fitness things outside the gym for them to do. Different gyms, different platforms, things like that. So I think you help them round their game off a little bit more. You don't see as much one-dimensional, I guess.
Right. That makes sense. What's going through your mind when your fighter's in trouble in a fight and you're in the corner?
I got to keep him calm and collected so he can think and get through this. And that's not always an easy thing to do. When those cameras are on you, those lights are on, and your family and friends are there, the adrenaline's going. So you have to, from the corner, it's tough, man, because I want to be in there fighting for them. I want to get in there and jump in the fight, but I can't. So I have to do it as best I can from the sidelines to get them, in the fight, keep them mentally in the fight. This, just like anything else, man, this is 90% mental and 10% physical.
That's fair. Have you ever had a moment where you felt helpless in the corner?
A lot. And it's not a good feeling. I can tell you that, because you watch this person prepare, and then something just doesn't go our way. Everybody gets caught. That's our sport. Some of the best fighters in the world have been knocked out.
Yeah.
It's just what it is, man. And when you sign that dotted line, there's a 50-50 chance you're going to get your ass whooped. That was a Rampage Jackson quote from back in the day. He was one of my favorites. But
Yeah.
you're in there with another skilled fighter. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's tough, man. It's hard, especially the guys I'm really close to in the gym. Guys have been with me for a while. I have an annual cookout every year. I bring these guys to my house, so it's like
Right.
some of them I have a different bond with. You know,
Yeah.
I try to treat all these guys the same. I try to treat them like the best I can, like family. You know, I'm a big ball breaker, man. That's me. You know, I like to joke around a lot. I like to have some fun, but when it comes time to get busy, we gotta get busy too.
That's fair. How much of a fight is strategy versus just instinct?
I mean, strategy also helps. It's big to go in with a game plan per se. But as soon as you get punched in the mouth, it goes out the window. Your instincts kick in.
Mhm.
You know, if I got a kid there's a really good wrestler, and I tell him, hey man, you know, this kid you got's a really good striker. You know, well, I want to strike with him, coach. As soon as he gets popped, he shoots. His instinct, it kicks in.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go in there with this game plan. No. Do this, and this. You got to kind of adjust on the fly, man. It's like that with anything: cage grappling, kickboxing, boxing, MMA. You have to learn to adjust on the fly because not every single thing is going to go according to that game plan. It's always like that.
So you built game plans that just get completely thrown out before, you know.
Sometimes, yeah, absolutely, because something happens in the middle of a fight, gets altered, um, and you got to kind of adjust on the fly in between rounds. The biggest thing, the hardest thing to do is keep a fighter in a fight. That's the hardest thing. When you are dead tired, exhausted, mentally not there, the hardest thing to do is keep them there. You know, and I've probably swore and yelled and a few times trying to get them there, but got headbutted once. That's a funny story. I did get headbutted in a fight. Um, my fighter was a little fired up. I'll tell you, it was Bobby Houston. I love Bobby to death. Bobby's like my right hand man down there. Without him, I can honestly tell you, I'd be struggling. So that's my shout out to Bobby. I don't praise the kid too much, but there you go. There's my shout out to him. We were in a fight, and I said, "Yeah, I need you to turn this up and get this going." I don't want to say too many choice words on your podcast, but you can imagine what I was telling him. Okay, and he headbutted me, and I'm like, wait a minute. He headbutts me again. I'm like, don't headbutt me again. You headbutt me again, I'm going to kill you. And we both start laughing in the corner. It was the funniest thing you've ever seen. So it was a good time. It was definitely one of my funnier moments in the cage. But that was on a big show in Cleveland for WFC, and he got the win. So that's sometimes you got to get headbutted as a coach to get your guys to get wins, I guess.
Now, where can people watch your grappling match?
It'll be on YouTube pay-per-view. I'll end up sharing the link on my Facebook page as soon as Keith gives it to me. But I have a whole walkout. I think you guys will find funny. So make sure you tune into it. It's quite colorful. I'll be coming out to probably Ice Cube's Natural Born Killer. I come out to that one all the time. Or Let's Go by Trick Daddy. So I'll let the people watching this podcast decide whichever one you want me to come out to. All right. If you have your opinion, Jordan, you can give it to me. But yeah,
I always go DMX.
Yeah, DMX always good. Where that's always good. But those are the two that get me kind of where I need to be mentally, I guess you could say. And when I make that walk, it's for me. Like, I could sit here and be nostalgic. Oh, I'm getting in there for my kids. I'm getting in there for my girl. I'm getting in there for I'm getting in there for me.
Yeah.
That's my moment in time to be selfish.
Yeah.
I put the work in. It's me out there. And it's okay for my fighters when they start that walk, they make that walk in that cage. It's okay for them to be selfish too at that moment.
Yeah.
Okay. But you cannot succeed without your team. The men that are getting you ready, the women that are in there helping you get ready, you know, your coaches, your people around you. You cannot be successful without those people. But when you step in that cage and that door closes, all them people can do is watch. We can't help you. You have to get in there and execute. And I'm the same way, man. It's, you know, my match is 1 10-minute round. If you've ever rolled with somebody for 10 minutes straight, it's horrible. It's awful. Okay. And you have to put yourself mentally in places you've never been. And thank God the training partners I have in the gym, they don't let me slack, man. You know, and I'll give some shout outs later too, like my up and coming guys, my veterans, but a couple of my main training partners through this whole thing, honest to God, have been Dante Pipkins. Dante's a big strong kid, you know. Bobby Houston. Bobby gives me a lot of trouble in there when I'm not on my game. Mike Payton. Mike's been a friend of mine for a long time. He's an old dog like myself. Um, Ateem Smith, all these bigger guys. Xavier Prevost, my one of my little guys I like to roll around with to get the speed and things like that.
Yeah.
Little KD, I like rolling around with KD. He's fun. But you know, every single guy in that gym has helped me as a man, as a coach, as a competitor. So I thank them all for that. Like I said, I get on them, but it truly is out of love. It's not out of malice.
Right. So yeah, I was gonna ask, is there anybody you wanted to shout out? Sponsors, coaches, friends,
Yeah.
whatever.
I want to shout out. I'll start with my sponsors. We'll do the first one. The U.S. Army Reserves in PA is one of our big sponsors. A Plumber Images. Aaron Plummer's been my boy from high school. We're like brothers. He does some incredible sports photography in Lima. If you're in that Lima area, you need sports photography done. He is the best there is out there, by far. Tavern 26. I eat there a lot. I'm a big guy. I like to eat, so they
Some
give us
good
a
food.
sponsorship. Weichert Realty. I have two personal sponsors coming up for this match. Ritter Processing, my buddy Jimmy Ritter, and Ray Dodd at Boneyard Collectibles. My second set of shout outs are obviously my two kids, AJ and Ava. Dad's away from home a lot, training to run in the gym and stuff. And you know, so they don't have dad sometimes. And my girl, you know, she's been awesome. She's been by my side the whole thing. She's been there. You know, she's been a huge support system. Um, Without her, I'd probably lose my mind. You know, she keeps everything organized, helps me out a little bit. You know, but she's been great. Um, Shout out to all my guys. You know, listen, this old lion's going back to work. He's going back in the cage. So without the pride of lions behind me, I'd have never been able to get in there. You know, I guess the biggest thing, man, is like I said, it takes a village. You know, but my guys are awesome. I want to give a shout out to some of the guys in the gym if I have time.
Oh
I
yeah.
have some young up and coming fighters that are really going to make a mark in this sport if they stick with it. Alex Boyd at 125, kid's nasty. Big Dante, you interviewed him. Dante Pipkins, he's a second generation fighter. I actually trained his father. That's how old I am. That's the going joke that I'm that old. I trained your dad. Yeah, KD Young. He's a tough little scrappy 125er. Xavier Prevost, he's a newer guy. Tyler DeGoda is one of my vets. Bobby Houston, one of my veterans. Tristan Hutchko. When he gets back from Florida, Logan Vega. Logan's nasty, real nasty. So I definitely have some tough guys out here, man. And they even my newer guys go. Even the guys that don't want to fight in the gym. You know, they're a big pivotal part of all this. And like I said, I couldn't do it without them. Our new facility is great. I took that year off of competing to get my gym in order. I had to. I had a hell of a match last April with Thiago Bogo from the Match Champ. He's a Brazilian, very tough Brazilian grappler. I went to the matchmaker. I said, I want a war. Who do you got? He gave me Thiago. I knew it was going to be a war. I had to pop my toe back in the hotel room after the match. That's my kind of match. You know, broke my toe, started the no-gi part of it, and went with it. And him and I are great friends. Shout out to some of my past opponents. I've rolled with some of the best there is, man. You know, Justin Fleming, Shane Scott, Gabe Soto, like I said, Tiago. Some of my training partners over the past years, man, I've rolled with a lot of black belts around here. They got nothing but my love and respect. So I joke around a lot, but they got nothing but my love and respect. I know how hard this sport is, especially the guy my age. It's tough. You know? So just got to dig down. You got to keep swinging. Just in life, man. Life's going to throw a lot of things at you. You know, even as young people. You know, we're going to be doing a rollathon in July. It's for a good cause.
Okay.
we're gonna donate half the proceeds to mental health awareness in the Valley,
Nice.
which is something I think is very important. Okay.
Yes.
I've lost people to mental health. Okay. I've battled it myself. I think we all have at some point in time. Even on a mild scale, it plays no favorites.
Right.
Men, women, children, doesn't matter. It doesn't discriminate. So I'll be posting details about that on my Facebook page as we get closer to. But it's really a good cause. We've done it the last couple of years. We get guys from other gyms come over, paying $35 mat fee. Like I said, half the money goes there. Sometimes even more. It just depends on what we end up taking in as far as the gym goes. And we give that to a charity. Last year we did the veterans. I think I gave it to a VFW.
Okay.
Year before, a fighter that was very close to us, trained with us, passed away. We did it for his wife to help out a little bit. So we're always trying to help out. Hopefully I can get some guys on board. The fight community is a tight one. Even if you fought each other, man, when there's a tragedy, they all come together. It's a tight community. I've made a lot of enemies in this sport, and I'm going to continue to, and that's okay because love me or hate me, you're going to pay to watch me, so it doesn't really matter either way. Okay, I'm going to keep doing me. I've also made a lot of great friends in this sport. I've met a lot of good men out here. There are good men here. Okay, but that goes with the sport, man. And anything you do, you're going to have some friends, you're going to have some enemies. That's just how it goes. I'm not so.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to talk to me.
Not a problem, man. I'm glad you had me on the show. I haven't really done a podcast interview in a while. I'm old and washed up. I'm out of the spotlight now, but I guess if I can get out there and say some good things about my gym and my guys, then that's what this is about.
Always. Like I said, thank you again, brother. I appreciate you.
Not a problem, man. You have a good day.
Hey,
Thanks.
you as well. Thank you.